The Palworld situation is getting pretty wild at this point.
Palworld, aka Pokemon with guns, the Rust-like game with Pokemon in them with some Zelda Breath of the Wild style exploration that has taken the
It has open world exploration. Wow, that's so Zelda. Stop. Stop.
world by a storm. Since last time we talked about it, the review score has only gone up from 93 to 94%, and this is from 102,000
Nice.
reviews, over 102,000 user reviews. The game is still in early access, and it's already seeing an incredible amount of success that nobody anticipated. The game is being sold at $30 in this early access stage. It was a little cheaper a while back while it was discounted. And seeing the progression of the game's sales has been insane. And this is just on Steam. The game's also out on Xbox. We don't know what those sales
No one cares about the Xbox, dude. Like, come on.
numbers look like. But I imagine that if you combine those with the Steam numbers, the sales figures are probably higher than we think they are. But in terms of Steam alone, it sold 1 million copies in only 8 hours. It then sold 2 million in 24 hours, 3 million in 40 hours, 4 million in 3 days, 5 million in 3 days, 6 million in 4 days.
Hey, it's pretty impressive. But it's that good. It is
7 million in 5 days, and the latest sales figure is that it sold 8 million in 6 days. And referring to the 7 millions figure in particular, Jeff Keighley noted that this translates to approximately 189 million US dollars in Steam sales in 5 days. That number's only gone higher now that we know it sold 8 million units in 6 days. And I imagine that that figure is rapidly approaching, 10 million. And then seeing the progression of peak concurrent players on Steam has been just as insane as seeing the sales figures rapidly rise. Look at the all-time peak concurrent players for this game, over 2.
Ooh, finally at 2 million. I mean, it's not gonna probably go for peak players any higher than this. Well, it's gonna maybe go higher, but probably not that much, right? Unless they create some kind of super big update or something, right?
2 million players tuned in at one point. So looking at the chart here, you can see that the game peaked at 800,000, then over 1 million, 1,200,000, then 1,500,000, then 1,800,000, and then 2 million. And it is still doing incredible numbers. I mean, just 9 hours ago, almost 2 million people tuned in. The player retention of this game is just insane. Quite a sight to behold. And this places Palworld now at number 2 when it comes to the most peak concurrent players we have seen on Steam, beating out even Counter-Strike 2, which peaked at 1.8 million. Palworld beat
Yeah, everyone knew that Counter-Strike 2 is gonna be beaten at some point.
it out at 2 million. It's still got some ways to go before it beats PUBG's 3.2 million peak concurrent players that it achieved at one point. I don't know if it'll quite get that far, but who knows, with Palworld being as successful as it is now. Maybe once the game does launch, those peak concurrent player numbers will rise to new heights. Again, it's just an early access. But yeah, even on SteamDB, you can see right here that the game has been confirmed to have peaked at over 2 million concurrent players. Like, I knew that on some level this game would garner a lot of traction because it's a meme game of sorts. It's Pokemon with guns. But when
How is that a meme game? He's almost saying like that's bad, but that's pretty good. Everyone wanted a good Pokemon game. That's like the whole point about Palworld's success. People wanted a Pokemon game that's good. And there you go. You have the results.
the meme game actually turns out to be really good and really addicting and something that players are having a really good time with, it transcends the meme and it becomes just a meteoric rise of a success. And the Palworld developers are very well aware of this game's success and the need to keep churning out updates and additional content, which is why the developers have come out to detail the roadmap of this game that aims to address
Early access roadmap, bro, we have transcended at this point. It's not even that shitty games have roadmaps to keep people engaged because, of false dreams and promises. Looking at you, Fallout 76, you cheap shit. But now we need early access roadmaps above everything else. Man, you gotta love it.
critical issues, as well as implement new features like PvP, raid bosses, PAL Arena, Steam Xbox crossplay, various Xbox feature improvements, server transfers and migrations, improvements to the building system, new islands, PALs, bosses, and technologies. So there is seemingly a long and successful road ahead for the.
I mean, this is as basic as it gets, Yongi. Yeah, I could have not known anything about this game and just kind of sprinkled all of these things in, and I would be right.
This game, assuming legal troubles don't get in the way. I've touched upon this extensively in my last video, but basically, for those who don't know, the game is being accused of using AI and or plagiarizing Pokemon.
Oh no, AI! What will the artists that are absolutely out of this world, arrogant and need to feel self-important about everything do now? AI, no! No! AI, curse you! I've worked all my life to be... No one cares about AI taking artists' jobs. The real good artists are gonna still have jobs. You know who's not gonna have jobs? The idiots who just call themselves artists because they want to be special. Those people are not gonna have jobs. You know, the people who make how the headset looks and call themselves the most important part of the process. Those people that call architects artists. Those people who call engineers artists. Bro, stop. Just end it.
Now, the accusation that it's using AI, there's no grounds for that. It's speculation, and I've not seen any evidence.
No one cares about that
yet that the game has used AI, so that's a conversation that I'm not going to have in this video. When it comes to the plagiarism stuff, you know, it depends on who you ask. A lot of people are posting comparison screenshots of PALs versus Pokemon and how it does.
Wait, wasn't this his old previous video? Because I talked about this. I don't remember if it was a Young Ye's video. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't remember. But anyway, we saw this. I already called this a super fucking reach. Okay?
Take elements from Pokemon, whether it's different pieces of Pokemon that have been fused into one, to stuff that very much just straight up resembles the original Pokemon. I did remember seeing this PAL in the game and thinking this very much reminds me of the Pokemon that it is inspired from. You know, some of this stuff definitely does feel kind of blatant in its inspiration, though whether it can be categorized as plagiarism, I suppose the courts will determine if Nintendo decides to take this to court.
Dude, Nintendo definitely will try. Okay? I think, you know what? I have upgraded my stance on maybe Nintendo won't do anything too. Nintendo will definitely try. Nintendo may choose to pursue legal action here, even if they know that there is not a chance that they win, but just to stifle the development of Palworld and cause damages like that. Because Nintendo does not want anything even remotely close to Pokemon to succeed, because that puts them in the spotlight how shitty Pokemon games in actuality are. They sell well, but they are shit. And most people kind of agree with that. So, yeah, Nintendo does not want a spotlight on the fact that they literally don't even try with their Pokemon games anymore.
We have plenty of posts and threads detailing the similarities between PALs and Pokemon, and plenty of people chiming in for or against the stance that some of this stuff may or may not constitute plagiarism. But for certain designs here, the similarities are definitely undeniable. Here's one more user who put together this giant collage that compares and contrasts PALs and Pokemon. And I do think some of the comparisons are reaching, but some I can see why they're being brought up. And there are plenty of discussions surrounding, you know, what constitutes inspiration versus plagiarism. There are those bringing up the fact that Pokemon took inspiration from certain Dragon Quest designs, but then there are others arguing that you can tell the difference between the Dragon Quest and Pokemon designs, whereas in Palworld, there are certain...
No, you can't. The difference between this bat and this bat is the same exact difference as between Palworld and Pokemon. It is very noticeable.
That so closely resemble the Pokemon, they could potentially confuse a PAL for something that maybe came from Pokemon. I don't know, man. This discussion is still raging on. But one of the strongest cases that could be made for the accusation,
Yeah, this one was true,
that Palworld is plagiarizing Pokemon is if it turns out to be true that the models for Pals are essentially ripped from Pokemon and then changed a little bit, like someone who takes somebody else's homework and changes it a little bit to make it seem like it was their own work. If that is indeed what has happened, and if the accusations surrounding that are true, then Nintendo might have a case. But yeah, plenty of people have pointed this out, that the similarities are striking enough that it's almost impossible that that happened by coincidence, is what even like professional developers and 3D modelers are saying. Now, one of the individuals who's been putting out alleged evidence...
You don't even need this much. Again, I said this at the start. I said this at the very, very start. You don't even need to go this far. I said this. Again, statistics. Thank God no one knows how that magic system works, right? If you make 300 magical creatures, on average, yes, like, I don't know how many, but, maybe 10 to 30 will look similar to Pokemon. But when you have more, 50% of your pals looking pretty eerily similar to Pokemon in some extent, that is not a coincidence. The chances of that being a coincidence is far too little. Just from that alone, we knew that there's going to be some issues.
That Palworld models are very reminiscent of Pokemon models to the point where they feel like ripped off models, like assets taken directly from Pokemon. Is this for user Biofrog, who put out footage like these right here and who made this comparison? But this individual now coming out and saying things like, I'm doing this because I think it's disgusting how much Palworld glorifies animal abuse, has given the impression...
Oh, shut the fuck up, you absolute soy-filled loser. You know who glorifies animal abuse? Soylent Green lovers? Vegans? Do you know how many animals, how many living beings are actually killed in the process of making green food? Dude, it's not even close to the same as killing one cow. It's the same as killing 200,000 cows. You're just killing smaller things. But yeah, it's not even close, dude. Vegans are the true animal abusers, okay? I eat meat and love it because I am a friend of the animals.
That maybe he's faked some stuff and that the only reason he's doing this and he's trying to essentially stain Palworld's reputation is because this individual might have some sort of agenda. But you do have other individuals chiming in, like Gogo here, who is a technical animator in the games industry, who did their own tests and have discovered that certain similarities are so striking that it'd be one hell of a coincidence if Palworld did not directly rip off Pokemon models and then adjusted them. Gogo even went as far as publishing a video on YouTube that's 10 minutes long that explains in detail why the similarities between certain Palworld models and Pokemon models are disconcerting and why it might hint at potential copyright infringement or plagiarism of Pokemon work. And then somebody else who chimed in is this junior environment artist who responded to Gogo by theorizing that this might explain why this Pokemon mod that replaced Palworld models with Pokemon could come out so quickly, stating if the rigs are all the same, it's just a matter of changing models. That would explain how quickly this Pokemon mod was done. Now, there are those who are chiming in saying that they're not fully
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Convinced that Pokemon models were directly ripped from. This individual, for example, highlights how the topology of triangles is different in this particular example, but they also say that the last time they touched 3D software was a decade ago. And so this individual got responses like this one from someone who is a freelance animator who pointed out the fact that they hadn't touched 3D software for like a decade and times have changed on that front. And apparently nowadays read topology is damn easy, making it possible to rip models and change it just enough to make it look different, but the similarities are still there enough where you can tell that maybe the models were directly ripped from the source material, in this case Pokemon. Here's somebody else who is a 2D illustrator and 3D artist chiming in that 3D modeling software usually has a retopologize option and details a potential example of a process through which Palworld could have ripped Pokemon models, saying that my guess is that they imported the model, reduced mesh, and topologized with a number of faces close enough where it would work better in the engine, kind of like reducing assets from high poly to lower poly for performance. Now look, I myself am not an expert in 3D modeling.
Yeah, no idea what they said. Don't care though.
And animating and rigging and whatnot. So I'm not here to tell you one way or the other that plagiarism happened for sure or plagiarism didn't happen. I'm just presenting you what the discussion is right now and what different
Oh, he's so afraid.
sides of the fence are saying, what professionals are saying
Weak.
on multiple fronts. Again, a proper investigation.
I mean, did you corroborate that they're professionals? I mean, one of these guys said that he's old and dusty, and that's pretty much it. Are you sure they're professionals? Wouldn't want to spread that Chinese misinformation anywhere, Yongi. Careful now, boy.
Likely has to be conducted to fully determine if full-on plagiarism took place. As for what Nintendo has been saying or how they've been responding or what activity on Nintendo's front has been like, well, there are a couple things that have happened. The first thing is, as I mentioned before, somebody has already made a Pokemon mod for Palworld, as detailed here by...
And as I predicted, yeah, Nintendo struck that bad boy down in literally seconds. They didn't send out a cease and desist letter. They fucking sent out a cease and desist army.
IGN on January 22nd, 2024. This modder Toasted Shoes apparently created DreamWorks and Pixar mods and is now back with a Palworld mod that replaces the creatures inhabiting the world into actual Pokemon and adds a playable Ash Ketchum. It shouldn't come as a surprise that Nintendo
Why not a Misty? Why not a Jessie? Why not the good stuff, not just dumb Ash Ketchum?
Quickly came after this.
Ash Ketchum is a loser. Look into reality, you know it's true.
Given how blatantly this takes somebody else's IP and rips it off. And I do believe that Toasted was profiting off of this mod by putting the mod up on Patreon, which makes this a much more clear-cut case. Toasted right here tweeted, "Nintendo has come for me. Please leave me in your thoughts and prayers," showing a screenshot of him tweeting the trailer for the Pokemon mod that has since been disabled and taken down due to copyright by the copyright owner, aka Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. And this is something that made enough waves that the Palworld modding community are steering clear of any Pokemon mods. So right here we have a report from Games Radar that reported on a statement that was posted on Discord.
Wait. I don't care about any of that. I'm looking at the picture below. I'm interested. Young, tell me more about this.
This morning by the Palworld mod subreddit that reads, "Hey y'all, I'm sure many of you have been seeing all of the content regarding the Pokemon mod for Palworld. While the memes and such are hilarious, the mod alone hosts a giant risk to the community and will need to take precautions so that Nintendo's lawyers don't nuke all of us with litigious actions. The mod is highly likely using ripped assets."
Litigious. Young. Litigious.
"And is very illegal."
How have you fucking said that word 50 billion times but still have no idea how to pronounce it?
"In Nintendo's eyes." Yeah, that's probably the smartest thing to do. It's just not worth the risk when we're talking about Nintendo. Next up, we got a response from a former Pokemon Company employee, more specifically Don McGowan, who once upon a time headed the Pokemon Company's legal team for 12 years from 2008 to 2020. Given the specific role he had at the Pokemon Company for 12 years at that, his input likely is of some value, and here's what he had to say when he was asked by Stephen Totillo by news outlet GameFile about the Palworld situation. Don said, "This looks like the usual rip-off nonsense that I would see 1,000 times a year when I was chief legal officer of Pokemon. I'm just surprised it got this far." The former chief legal officer of Pokemon is basically saying that I can't believe that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company haven't taken legal action at this point. But alas, Don McGowan no longer knows what's going on at Nintendo since he's not employed at Nintendo anymore, since he's no longer chief legal officer for Pokemon. So let's hear directly from Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, who put out a statement on January 25th, 2024, which reads as follows. "Inquiries regarding other companies' games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024, Palworld, which they don't name directly. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future." Signed, the Pokemon Company. Now, do keep in mind that this is no guarantee that legal action will be taken, but it is them putting out there that they are going to initiate an investigation of sorts to see if there is any sort of infringement, to see if there's any cause within Palworld for Nintendo to pursue legal action.
Yeah, that would be to be expected, right?
Action. Now, some like Daniel Ahmad here have interpreted Nintendo and the Pokemon Company statement as basically along the lines of, please stop sending us emails about Palworld. It's being interpreted as a statement that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company put out there because they've been getting so many messages and inquiries from the gaming community and from media outlets surrounding this whole situation that this is them saying, hey, we're confirming that we know about this. We'll let you know more when we have an update, essentially. This is them confirming that they are being...
Well, yeah, that's kind of literally it, yeah. Yeah. They need to do this. Imagine if Pokemon just ignored it and Palworld went on. That would be like the green light for so many people to try and rip off Pokemon. It wouldn't even actually be funny.
Proactive about this, but it's not confirmation that they're perceiving Palworld as a product that has infringed on their property. Though, time will tell. You know, if we hear nothing from them months and years down the line, then it's likely that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have decided to drop this whole situation and not pursue anything. Though, they may be in the phase of just really making sure that they have their ducks in order before they fully pursue legal action. Now, some are saying that it's interesting how Nintendo went after the Pokemon mod so quickly, and yet Palworld still hasn't seen any sort of legal action.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. They own the Pokemon copyright. Clearly, duplicates of said copyright were used in a mod without their permission. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing to do there.
Potentially suggesting that Nintendo isn't seeing, suing Palworld as some kind of high priority, or that they're not seeing a case being made for Palworld being copyright infringement. To which I'd say that the mod is such a significantly more clear-cut case that Nintendo doesn't really have to do any legwork to prove that this is copyright infringement. Whereas with Palworld, I'd say you do have to look into it a bit more. You do have to compare all the different Palworld designs and compare
Oh, really?
them to Pokemon. And then when it comes to more serious accusations, like 3D models from Pokemon being taken, changed a little bit, and then being implemented in Palworld, that is also going to take investigation that's not as clear cut, even amongst the game development community, amongst 3D artists and stuff like that. There are arguments being made on both sides, and it's a matter of having to dig.
Oh, random 3D artists from the side don't mean anything. Bro, on Twitter, I am a scientist, I am a nuclear physicist, I am this, I am everything, okay? Trust me, boy, I'm a 3D artist on Twitter. Don't even start it. Anyway, this is starting to get boring. Yongi, yeah, is pretty much done. Okay, do the outro. Do the outro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we missed it. Second, wait. I'll fix it. Don't worry.
News, reviews, and discussions. Stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah.
Yong Yeah.
I'll see you guys next time.
What a joke. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.